Hello, good evening. Right, it's Thursday night. It's 7:30. I think I'm actually on time. And we have Facebook on this machine, and we have YouTube on this machine. Now, let's see if it'll actually work this week. How are you? Is there anybody out there? If so, please drop on a comment, just so I can see that it's working. So, how is everybody? What are you all up to? I have been, again, not that much car stuff going on. Although I have now sold my Chrysler. Yes, all I did was buy the Chrysler, put it in for an MOT, attempt to repair it, make it worse, and think, I don't know, and think, if this is the way things are going to go, then ourselves to it. And it's now been sold. Hello, is that Neil? Hello, Neil, and hello, Nick. How you doing, matey? We're in here this week. Yes, indeed you are. I believe you. So, yes, what are you guys up to? How are things? Do tell. And, yeah, well, so other than that, not a lot at all. The Mercedes is still in... Hello, Lee. How are you doing, mate? Like I say, if somebody on Facebook could drop on a comment just so I can see whether I can see them, that would be jolly helpful, please. Yes, so the Mercedes has developed an interesting intermittent fault where the dash will just die. Now, I noticed this first after last Friday, where I was driving home, and the Friday was the day when we had some really rather nasty floods around here. Now, I had to drive through... Hello, Louise. I had to drive through some fairly deep water on the way home from work. And since then... Hello, Steve. How are you doing, mate? I have not seen one single comment appear on Facebook yet, so I'm wondering if the same bloody problem exists. It's not showing me comments. I don't know what that little zigzag thing is at the bottom of the screen, but bloody hell. This is almost COVID-free at last. Fantastic good news, yes, because you've had that for about 2 weeks now, haven't you? God, it's a pain in the ring. Nick Gumby, not sure which format I'm on, or planet for that matter. Well, you're with us, so you're among friends. Yes, it's a bit bloody cold as well, isn't it, suddenly? So anyway, yes, driving through deep water on the way home from work. And now, mysteriously, my dash has stopped working. All the lights work, but the 4 sort of gauges don't. Just say 0. 2 weeks, bugger that for a game of soldiers. A 2-week-long hangover. Nope. Nope and nope. Humph. Hold on, let's see what happens if I do that. I'll piss on it. Wow, no idea. Hello, Nige. How are you doing? So, of course, the biggest news for many of us, and it's only been 4 months since the last one, is that Santa Pod have announced the dates for next year's street weekend. If you're interested, it is the middle of June, bang in the middle of June, something like the weekend of the 14th to the 16th. Now, anybody who was on this year's event will know, A, how much fun it was, and B, what a buzz it has created. I don't think any event has created this much of a buzz since maybe Door Slammers. But hoping to have my car ready for street weekend. Fantastic. Are we talking about the Pontiac, Nigel? Nick says, I'm in, can't wait. Me either, really. And it's 8 months away. Well, slightly less than 8 months away, actually. But, yeah, a mere 25 weeks away. No, bullshit. Whatever 8 weeks, 8 months is in weeks. 1 week less than that. And, yeah, the buzz has already started. Many people are predicting that it will be somewhat oversubscribed. Again, can't say I'm surprised. I expect that they will cap the numbers. Yes, I've heard. Brilliant, fresh paint, fresh motor, same pants, marvellous. How's your rear end? Because I know your rear end has often been your weak link up at Melbourne. So yeah, a lot of people are already talking about winter builds and stuff with Street Weekend in mind. Can't say I blame, but it is creating that much of a buzz, and I'm delighted about that. I really, really am. I was delighted to have been part of the first one. I have a sticker somewhere, which I really should apply to the car in which I competed, but I haven't applied it to anything yet. So yes, it will. What is going on? Bloody no comments again. Or if you're on Facebook and you have dropped on a comment or anything, I can't see it. It's not showing them to me. Poxy old shite. So hold on, right? I'm gonna have a quick fiddle. Ooh. No, bugger it. It's not going to. What does that mean? Oh, you can piss up a rope. Right. I'm sorry if there are any comments on Facebook. I cannot see them. Come over to this camera and join us on YouTube. So yeah, Street Weekend, big buzz behind it. And like I say, this year's event, the organisers, because it was the first year, they were hoping they might get 16 entrants. Or, make a nice 16-car field. They ended up with 90. And hey, Lee, how you doing, mate? You have come across from the dark side, which is, yeah, Facebook playing silly asses. Although to be fair, it could be that phone, because earlier on it did an OS update, which took absolutely ages, and now a load of stuff doesn't work. So where was I? Yes, last event they were hoping for 16 and got 90. Next year, if any of the buzz that's going around actually translates into real world enthusiasm, they could be looking at hundreds. I heard Nigel's getting his rear end sorted so it works both in the dry and the wet. That would be good. Yes, because currently his rear end just leaves one big stripe. It would be nice if it left a pair. So, yeah, Hiya, Jerry. I see Jerry's just joined us on Facebook. Like I say, if you wanted to leave a comment, I can't see it for whatever reason. And Paul, hello. For whatever reason, this bloody machine won't show me any comments you leave. However, if you pop over to the HRG YouTube channel, I can see people's comments, and so can everybody else, which would be lovely. Yeah, so like I say, and there's a broad spread of vehicles. This year, I finished number 41 out of, I think, 81 finishers or something like that. There's 81, was it 42 out of 83, something like that. Anyway, the upshot was there were 42 cars finished ahead of me and 42 cars or whatever finished behind me. I was bang in the middle. However, I was kind of just pleased to finish. This next event, if I get to enter, I would really, really like to finish inside the top half. However, as there are a lot of quick cars threatening to come along. I mean, you look at Street Eliminator, I know that this year, the final point standings, 6 cars out of the top 7 completed Street Weekend. I think we ended up at number 34 at the final. Minter, nice one. Yeah, so there are a lot of bloody quick cars out there. A lot of quick cars I've never seen before as well. And a lot of people just along for the laugh, which is Minter as well. And it's good to see an event with this much excitement about it. It really is. I mean, all events have a degree of excitement about them, but nothing like this. And I mean, at the moment, for instance, Graham Smith of Cirque Motorsport and Tom Baggerly are over in the States competing, well, it's about to finish competing in Death Week. Tom has gone over to the States, bought a Fox Mustang sight unseen, and he's competing in Death Week, which is another drag and drive event, but it's called Death Week because it goes through Death Valley. And a big loop around the far southwest corner of the state, including was it Sequoia National Park was the other day, and up the Pacific Coast Highway and all this sort of stuff. I dream about sort of driving a route like that, and these guys are doing it, so fair play to them. He's run into trouble at the minute. He had some sort of failure in the steering department yesterday, and today he went out, ran a new personal best and killed the turbo. However, I don't know whether he sourced himself a new turbo, but he is hoping to complete the event. That's some bucket list shizzle right there. I say Graham Smith. I believe Graham Smith is the shotgun rider rather than the driver. It is all Tom. Fair play to him. What a great trip. What a great thing to do. Dear. And here's me wondering if I can manage to get up to Melbourne on Sunday for the swap meet. Who's going to the swap meet? Is anybody out there going to the NSRA Northern Swap Meet on Sunday at Melbourne Raceway? I really, really hope that this storm Babbitt or whatever buggers off. Hello, Dave. How are you doing? Thanks for coming along. But if you post a comment or anything on Facebook, I can't see it, I'm afraid. Everybody else has gone across to the Hot Rod Gazette YouTube channel, where we are broadcasting both simultaneous and at the same time. You are hopefully Minter. Nice one, Lee. And Nick, I have put that Fox sump in the boot of the Mercedes. So with a bit of luck, I should be bringing it along. The only thing that could chuck a spanner in the works is if I go up there in a different car, and only remember afterwards that I've left the sump in the boot of the Mercedes, because I've never done that sort of thing before at all. No. So yeah, there we go. I'm looking forward to the swap meet. It will mean getting up early on a Sunday morning, which is not something I generally make a habit of. It doesn't have much to recommend it. Also, James Murray was threatening to come with me, and now getting me out of bloody bed on an early doors is tricky. Getting James out of bed early doors, no chance. You'd need a cannon. But hey ho, there's a hello. I'm not sure who URQ Dave is, but hello. Thank you for coming along. You're not Dave Welford, are you? I could do with knowing this because everybody has these bloody handles, or some people have some peculiar handles, and I don't know who you are. So, there we go. Sorry, I've said this. Who's going to the swap meet? Oh, Christ, that's something else I've just remembered. Talking of street weekend, just before street weekend, I put a little shout out. Has anybody got a GoPro they can lend me for street weekend? Well, lo and behold, somebody lent me a GoPro. And as you can see, I've still got it. It's one of them things. I'll bring it back to you. Yesterday work. Hey, when I had my UR Quattro. Oh, UR Quattro, really? Bloody hell. Okay, groovy. So yeah, this Mike very kindly lent me that GoPro for street weekend. And like I say, as you can see, I still have it. It's been one of those where, are you going to be at such an event? Yes, I'll bring it along to you there. And the last minute, oh, I can't go to that event. Let's make it a next event. It was such an event down the road. Right, okay, right. And you get to that event. Oh, I can't go now, so I'll have to meet up with you. The next event, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, upshot is, like I say, 4 months down the line, I've still got his fucking GoPro. I could have thrown it in a jiffy bag and posted it back to him, but no, that would be too easy. So we've just stuck to this plan of, just bringing it along to the next meeting that we're both at. Many moons ago, that. And my biggest regret selling it. I'm not surprised. Crikey Riley. That would have been a retirement fund now, wouldn't it? Nick says, I heard James was early for his MOT, but I didn't believe it. No, I'm not having that either. Like I say, I think he's put his clocks back a fortnight early or something. Which is another thing, yes. If you are going to the swap meet, then you do get an extra hour in bed. But do remember that the clocks go forwards. Oh no, so the clocks go back on sort of like Saturday night, Sunday morning. So if you wake up at, say, 6 o'clock on Sunday morning, some of your clocks will say 6 o'clock and some of them will say 5 o'clock. Just worth remembering. And it'll be dark or lighter, one of the two, or something like that, something weird will happen. So, yeah, that's... finally will be... What did I miss? Me dribbling on, Biff. How are you anyway, matey? How are you feeling? I heard you've managed to bust your wagon. I need many parts, so we'll be there. Yes, Boys Toys. I don't know who that is at the minute. Hello, Martin. How are you doing, matey? Yes, last year went along. I was actually selling at the Northern Swap Meet. And the weather was just balls. I mean, it was awful. We stopped over the previous night, because if you're trading, you can get in sort of like Saturday night, keep in the back of your van, there nice and early to set up Sunday morning. So it was there the previous night. It was bloody cold. And we woke up in the morning and it was proper sort of see your breath, bloody cold. Oh, sorry, Steve. Yes, I should have known that, shouldn't I? In fact, yes, I've seen that before. Boys Toys equals Stephen Horsfall. Maybe in your imagination, mate. So, yeah, but got up in the morning and it was proper see your breath cold. And then we got set up. It got to the time where the gates opened to the public and the rain started and it bounced down for the entire duration. People who had a store where they had their stuff down on the floor, the stuff was floating and it was horrible. And everybody went, bugger this. Most people went home early. Most of the stalls packed up early. Everybody was drenched. You know when you're chucking your stuff in the back of the van and the back of the van's wet, and then your clothes are piss wet through, so you get in the van and the windows just steam up. And it was grim. And then you think, bugger this, set off, and 2 miles down the road, rain stops, sun comes out, it's gorgeous. And you think, oh, for God's sake, where was this 2 or 3 hours ago? Yes, as Biff snapped the selector cable, had to drive 40 miles stuck in 4th gear. Traffic lights, no, oh, that's a trial. I hope you get it sorted anyway. Selector cables. Is it one of them transits with the gear levers up on the dashboard? I don't know. Cables for selectors. I don't know. This is sort of your retribution for having bought a front-wheel drive vehicle. Or something, I don't know. Rumph. So yes, has anybody got any good swap meet stories? Has anybody gone along to the swap meet and bought something that they didn't intend to buy and it's turned out to be a really good purchase, or it's turned out to be a really shocking purchase? Or you've been selling and you've sold something for way less than you should have done. And yes, dash-mounted shifter, and dash-mounted shifter and rear drive. What? Why do you need a cable bloody gear shift if it's rear-wheel drive? Have I missed something? Oh, why doesn't the gear stick just poke up out the floor like it bloody well should do? Honestly. I've lost my thread now. Oh yeah, I remember years and years ago, me and James, in fact, God, it must be 20-something years ago. Went to, at least 20 years, probably 25 years ago, went to the Northern Swap Meet. I can't even remember where it was. But we did. I can't remember we bought much. James was definitely still Rover powered in the Cortina because he was buying and selling Rover bits. And there was this fellow with a big van, and he loaded it up at the end of the thing, started it, and was just about to drive off. The roller shutter door at the back went up, and he just pushed, sort of like stood an axle up at the back of this big 7.5-ton van, and just pushed it out, and then drove off. And I thought, well, that's disgraceful. That's just basically heavy-duty littering. And we went over and had a look at it, and it was a Ford 8.8, which he couldn't sell. Nobody wants a Ford 8.8, so we just chucked it in the hedge. Well, I think most vans are twin passenger seats and still manage to have a gear stick on the floor. But I don't know, because new cars are shite. I think you've hit the fairly accurately on the head there, Steve. That's what I say to the matter. So yeah, they just tipped an 8.8 axle out the back because nobody wanted an 8.8. At the time, it would still have been fairly current, or maybe only 10 years old. But yeah, couldn't hardly give it away at the swap meet. So me and James picked it up. We did our bit. We thought, we'll take this to the bin. So we picked up this bloody heavy axle and wandered around with it. Couldn't find a bin, so we chucked it in the back of our car and drove home. I believe we then either gave or sold it to Womble, who had it stolen. They had an attack of the nomads at the place where he was, his little sort of workshop, not at home. And yes, it was one of many, many, many things that went walkies that night. So, easy come. Other than that, I can't think of many things that I've ever actually bought at the swap meet. Last time I went to the Southern swap meet, it wasn't this year, must have been the year before. I ended up coming back, no, it must have been 2 years ago, because I ended up coming back with an LT77 gearbox for James. I phoned him up and I said, there's an LT77 gearbox here and it's jolly cheap. Told him all about it. He said, fucking buy it. So I bought it. And Unpaid Intern 2 was with me, and we lugged this bloody gearbox back to the car park. James never used it, and I recently bought it off him. I say I bought it off him, I can't remember whether I've paid him for it yet. Seems to be a lot of that going about. Yes, anyway, the other day, was it yesterday? No, yes it was yesterday. I sold my Chrysler to a friend of a friend. Like I say, I bought this bloody Chrysler, all these bright ideas. Oh yeah, I'm going to do, just fix it up. Nice daily driver, stick a tow bar on it, happy days, because they will tow 2 tons. So, like I say, put it in for an MOT, and aside from a couple of oddball little things and a couple of warning lights on the dash, which were making my arse twitch a bit, the main thing it failed on was brakes. The thing had been sat for years, a couple of years since lockdown, I think. And one of the best buys last year was the HRG magazine and the Blue Meanie book. Well said, that man. Yes, I like that. And yeah, as you can see, I still haven't managed to put together issue 2 of that magazine. You're in some fairly exalted company with the Blue Meanie book, actually, but there we go. First time I went to the Southern swap meet, I bought about 400 quid's worth of stuff and went home with 300 quid more than I took. Right, okay, sorry, you'll have to explain the mathematics of that to me. So you spent £400, but you still went home with £300 more than you took with you. Is, is maths different south of Watford Gap or something? I don't know. I sold a shed load of stuff. Oh, right, I see. Right, okay. Sorry, when you said you went to the Southern Swap Meet, I assume you went as a punter, not as a trader. Right. Or you just gone down there and mugged some Southerners. But frankly, none of these situations would surprise me particularly. I've only ever been a trader a couple of times, and it's always been, I've got some nice big shiny guff that I think that'll sell, somebody will want that, it's very reasonably priced. So I've taken all that with me and I thought, well, there's a little bit of space left in the van, I'll chuck in some tuppenny halfpenny tat, quite literally a shed load. Well, yeah, and as I don't know why I'm surprised, the tuppenny halfpenny tat all sold like that, and I ended up taking the top quality shiny stuff back home with me. So I've normally made a minuscule profit at the event. I'm hoping somebody will be selling a sense of responsibility or possibly a tin of good judgment, as I've been looking for both for some time. Have you really? Really? Okay. Yeah, I don't believe a word of it. However, if you're buying a second-hand sense of responsibility, or, as you say, second-hand tins of good judgment, there's a lot of cheap Chinese knockoffs out there. Do be careful. And as for tins of good judgment, obviously they can't ever have been opened. Otherwise, they wouldn't be at the swap meet. But yeah, check the best before dates on those. And yeah, you won't find either of them will do you any good. You'll just put them in the garage and forget about them. And then end up trying to punt them on again at next year's swap meet. Yeah, I mean, that must be a fairly common trick as well. Anybody buying stuff at the swap meet, having it kick around the garage for almost exactly 1 year before taking it to the following year's swap meet and trying to punt it on. I always used to spend more in the pub on the Saturday night down at the Southern Swap Meet than I made on the Sunday. I see. So your sales model on the Sunday was basically recoup what I pissed up the wall last night. Yeah. I can get with that. Because, I mean, where was the swap meet at that point? Because there used to be a sort of a travel lodge type thing nearby, didn't there? Or nearish. And that Saturday night, it used to be rammed with Northern Hot Rodders, and well, you know what that. Especially as there was a pub next door to the travel lodge, and yeah, you can imagine how shizzle went down. Basically, it was just an entire pub full of people buying beer and going, "How much?" and complaining that it tasted like wee. Although I will say that some of the Southerners' beers are all right. I do quite like a London Pride. What? No, not the event, the beer. Yeah. Fucking Morris. No, I do like a London Pride, and I've often been pleasantly surprised by a cold Bishop's Finger, which I believe is also a Kentish ale. Well, in fact, there's a few Kentish ales that I said Kentish ales that are. Hello, Aid. How you doing, mate? If you decide you're going to drop a fucking comment on, it's not working on Facebook. You have to come over to the Hot Rod Gazette YouTube channel, I'm afraid, if you want to say anything that I might be able to read. On the other hand, if you do leave a comment, you can be as rude as you bloody like, because I won't be able to see it. Although, no, I'm sure that wouldn't stop you one way or the other. So, hiya, Ian. How you doing, matey? And late to the party. Oh, you've missed all the good stuff. Oh, it's been top-notch Pulitzer-winning shizzle so far. We're finished now, though. Fuller's Brewery, London Pride. Yes. Not bad, that. Must have been a Northern head brewer. Quite possibly. Yeah, it's a half-decent brew. Any other southern beers that we shouldn't miss? I don't know. In fact, I'm trying to think where all these breweries are from. I really like Moreland Speckled Hen is hard to beat, and Hobgoblin, but I think they're both Oxfordshire. Any road, there you go. No, I don't know. So there we go. I've gibbered for half an hour. Now it's your turn. Go on, say something interesting, or else. Yeah, Essex Arena stock car track, Premier Inn with a pub. Believe it was called the Clifford 100. At least 12 Northerners to a room. Yeah, having no change there then. Just sleep in a pile like bloody gerbils. And yeah, that sounds about right, in fact. Oh no, that wasn't Arena Essex, was it? That was Neil Meredith's bash, I think, at Drayton Manor. Was it called the Secret Hot Rodders Ball? And it was a kind of out-of-season invitational. And there were loads of Northerners and Southerners there, and the Northerners seemed to have colonised a nearby travel lodge, which was a mere short taxi ride away. Drayton Manor's in Tamworth, in case you don't know. And yeah, the Northern crew appeared to have annexed this travel lodge. So we're at this event, and then eventually we all made it back. It's a fleet of taxis to this travel lodge. And little adopted boy Graham, who used to stay with us there. I'm sure he's doing very well for himself these days. Yes. Last time I saw he'd got a Corvette or something. And yeah, we were all at this bloody travel lodge, and we were all sitting around, and it's like, this was when Drayton Manor would close at midnight. The function room, not the theme park, obviously. That had closed sometime before. And yeah, we were all sat outside this travel lodge, and Womble says, oh, that's it, we're all bemoaning the fact that we couldn't get any more beer. And Womble said, oh, I've got this crate of Alco Pops in the back of the car. So he goes and comes back with these little stubby bottles of bright red. Well, God knows what it was. It had no labels on. I believe it's a convertible Camaro. Ah, sorry, yes. Yes, what all these people say. That bloke with the convertible Supra. And yeah, and he came back with these little stubby bottles of bright red Alco Pop, apparently, which had no label on it. And he said, oh yeah, I got it off a fella at work or something. And it looked like ATF. And to this day, I'm convinced it bloody was ATF. And everybody, I think, who had one was vigorously sick that night, including me. In fact, I lay claim to, I can't remember whose floor I was sleeping on, but for some reason I ended up sleeping on somebody's floor or settee. Was it Chris McCulloch's settee in his travel lodge room? And yeah, I chundered in his bathroom. And then he woke up, and him and his missus in the morning got up and said, we're off now. We've got to hand the key in, so you'll have to feck off. So I found somebody else's room and went in there with a banging head and said, can I sleep on your settee? They went, yeah, crack on. I was asleep on their settee for a while until I threw up in their bathroom as well. But they were already throwing up, so. And then they went, and I had to go and find somebody else's. So yeah, I managed to not only kip in, but also chuck up in 3 different travel lodge rooms in the same travel lodge that night. Yeah, and like I say, although at the time I only lived about 8 miles up the road, I don't think I got home until well into the afternoon. So there you go, happy days. So if somebody hands you an unlabelled bottle of Alco Pop, and it's bright red and it looks like ATF, there's every possibility it could be automatic transmission fluid. That's got to be some kind of record. It's not what I'm proud of. It doesn't get me many after dinner speaking engagements. Yeah, I don't exactly dine out on that story. But there we go. Maybe it is. I might phone up the Guinness Book of Records in the morning and see what they have to say about it. Although I remember years ago they said, right, we're discontinuing listing any records of feats of gluttony. So it might be, drinking ATF comes under that heading. That was the do where Chubbs got into and out of the same taxi 3 times. Yes! While all his friends were bunging him in one side of the taxi, bodily into the taxi, wham! He'd then open the door, run out the other side like a fecking clown car. I'm not sure what the taxi driver thought of that. Well, I can imagine exactly what he thought, and he probably saw the same shit every Saturday night. But yes, he was intent on sticking one on someone, wasn't he? And I can't remember who or what they'd done to deserve it, but yeah, it wasn't fun. That was also, I think that was also the night where Margaret Seiss showed me and James her piercings, of which there were several. And yeah, now it wouldn't have been me that asked, because piercings do nothing for me. They really don't. So I can only imagine. The hell that? Oh, something interesting's cooking. I can't. Yeah, so I wouldn't have asked to have seen them, so it must have been James. If James is on, maybe he can remind me. But yeah, Margaret showed us her piercings. It was kind of like a Where's Wally thing, as we stood there trying to see what was pierced in a dark car park. But I've happily taken a word for it on that score. Hey ho. Yes, all this was much fun. We must have been much younger at the time. I've got to be going back at least 20 years here, haven't I? I say this a lot now. That must be at least 20 years ago. And then I think, oh God, all the fun seems to have happened in the previous century. And then I remember, oh, hold on, that's because I'm now just old. I mean, it's like tonight. I'm thinking, well, it's gone 8 o'clock now. I should be in bed by 9. And oh God, it's pitiful. But there we go. So yes. Anyway, daft behaviour aside, I mean, I can't even drink now. If an evening's drinking now means I'm paying for it for 2 subsequent days. So, it would have been around 2002, 3. Maybe I'd have said possibly even earlier. Yeah, could be. I'd have said maybe 2000, 2001. But I'll take your word for it, because my memory's so shite. And like, what the bloody hell? Oh, tremendous. It's Halloween, so I've got my spooky lights going on. If you're not in bed by 9, it's time to go home. Yes. Nigel says, I was still at school. Oh, aye. What were you doing at that school? Is this the one that you now can't go within 200 yards of? Either there's a duck in the front driveway or something's making a peculiar noise out there. Anyway, and I'm not talking about the creaky seat that I'm sitting on. That's the seat creaking, not me, I promise. Yeah, it's all too long ago now, isn't it? Because I was saying this about bloody restraint order. Well, exactly, yes. It's the only restraint you have. is the court-appointed one. I said restraint, not restraints. Yes. No. Shh, take them away. I think the Chubbs taxi evening was a different year. Oh, it's James. Right, okay. Because it only happened for a couple of years, that, didn't it? I'm late, but here was watching Spotted Motors by a BMW. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming along, Ken. But, is that the one they bought at auction or something like that? As an old E30 or something? That evening, Dave and I were staying on the camps. Ah, yes. That's it. With all of Riverside. Well, you say that our club had just been disagreeing with. It wasn't that broad. It wasn't all of our club, was it? But yes, it was. It did get a bit fraught, but it also seemed to be fairly soon forgotten, which was nice. And an example of fine diplomacy by Gasket, it has to be said. But there we go. Because, yeah, the secret Hot Rodders Ball only happened for a couple of years, didn't it? And I'm not sure why it wound up, because I think it wound up before we lost Neil, who was the main instigator of the event. We also got to see Margaret flashing. That's it, yes. Like I say, I couldn't remember which event was which, but yeah. And like I say, it must have been you that asked about them, because I would not ask to see piercings. Like I say, piercings do nothing for me. Quite the reverse. So, yeah, I can only imagine it must have been you that broached that particular subject. Yeah. Nobody likes Hot Rodders balls. Well, yes, I mean, as I remember, that in that case, they were a bit sweaty and cramped. I blame overcrowding in the room. Yeah, I can't remember how many secret Hot Rodders balls. That's why they kept a secret, really, Lee. It's because they're so cramped and sweaty. I can't remember how many secret Hot Rodders balls. I think there were just a pair, actually. Or maybe I simply wasn't invited to subsequent ones. But yeah, it was. I don't think we asked. Or was it a kind of a prove it scenario? Well, like I say, it wouldn't have been me asking. So only you can answer that one. But I do remember standing in the middle of a dark car park and suddenly, oh, hello. Yeah, in fact, were we waiting for a taxi or something? I don't know. Whatever. It was a long time. It was a long time ago. It was dark, so I've got a fat chance of remembering most of it. Happy days. So, yeah. This was. I'm trying to remember now. When was the last year the NASC held the Spring Nationals at Drayton Manor? And that was a long way down the line. But at the time, the NASC Spring Nationals at Drayton Manor is kind of, as you went down the hill, because you came in through the sort of the ticket barrier at the top, round the sort of the brick buildings, one of which was the function room we're talking about, and then you went round, and then down a hill. And as you went down, on the left-hand side, there was the sort of the campsite. And I say the campsite, it was just an area, a wooded area. And what? Not that bloody wooded area. You can put that away. A wooded area, and the camping arrangements were just go and find a spot in there, set up camp, and it was great. And then just on the other side of the road was sort of a vaguely triangular field for the show, if I remember right. Last Spring Nuts I went to was also Neil's. Right, and I can't remember what year that was. 2006. God, I should know this sort of thing. But yeah, a fine bloke who was taken far, far too early and worked far, far too hard. Last one we went to was 2007, but I think, yes, yeah, it did go on for in fact, did they not rename it Neil's Spring Nationals after that? Because Neil was the one who put it together. Oh, sorry, put it together in the first place. Swift, the last one we did the rain was torrential. But like I say, I remember that the campsite just being, yeah, parking there and whatever, was great. And then later on, there's a field a bit further over to the left, and it was, grass and whatnot, and it was a proper sort of, well, closer to a proper campsite. And he kind of lost its spark a bit. But yeah, that one where everybody was just pitched up in the trees, that was wonderful. That was a really nice little spot. I went down there with my caravan. Again, at the time I was living only 8 to 10 miles away. But I brought my caravan. And yeah, that was my caravan behind me Sierra XR4, which was a terrible tow car. But I later found out this old, late 60s caravan that I was given for nothing was really, really bloody heavy. But yeah, as you pulled away from a standing start, you could hear bits of the Sierra sort of creaking and straining to pull this caravan. And you expected to pull away from the lights and find the car was suddenly a foot longer and a foot narrower. So yes, and parked that in the woods and had a great weekend. I think that may have been the same weekend that you, Nick, went on one of your many, many cross-dressing escapades. Anyway, there we go. I had my blue Chevy truck and you had the monster truck camper. Is this the Transit, Nick, that you needed a pogo stick to get in? Ah, dear me. Happy days. Blue Chevy truck. I don't remember you having a blue Chevy truck, Nige. But like I say, it happened before lunchtime yesterday, so the chances of me remembering anything with any degree of accuracy are minimal. Well, anyway, there we go. So, yeah, Biff Bailey, I remember Nick in a frock, scary. Yes, pretty, and he wasn't the most modest of frocks. We're not talking Victorian lady here. We were talking, I can't remember her name, damn it, but petite goth girl. 2-tone 78 C10 with a 6-pot. That is ringing a distant bell. 78 C10, because them square bodies like that are suddenly worth an absolute packet. Oh, sorry, I don't know if they're selling or not, but I know they're being priced frighteningly. Ah, the Tower of Transit. It wasn't me in the miniskirt basque. It wasn't. Oh, well, that's maybe I just imagine that in my quiet moments alone. But hey ho, it might have been it wouldn't have been a mini skirt on anybody else. But there we go. Yeah, it was surreal. Including, I think there was a hairpiece involved, wasn't there? For your head, I hasten to add, and not as some sort of murking arrangement. That was a long time ago. Good God. You had the legs for it then. So, well, I'm not hungry anymore, let's put it like that. But hey, wasn't Tony going to wear it, but bottled it so Nick wore it instead? Tony Rawson? Was he? I don't know, because neither of them shared a size or a shape with the young lady who had brought all that clobber with her. So how Oh, Tony Hyam. Bloody hell. Actually, he was kind of long and skinny, was Tony, yeah. Okay. And yeah, I'm not surprised if he did bottle it. Remember getting out of the truck to register at the Nats, walking back to sign on, thinking, this is a long truck. I'd left it in reverse as I got out and it was passing me. I'm having that. You sure that was a woman flashing in the dark car park? Oh, yes. I can say with some degree of certainty that that was a woman. I've seen Tony R in a dress in Madrid. That's a long way to go to see Tony Rawsthorne in a dress. Frankly, I wouldn't cross the street to see Tony Rawsthorne in a dress. In fact, if I did see Tony Rawsthorne in a dress, I would then cross the street. Gary Lease seemed to remember him in a... Yes! In fact, there's a lot of it about when you put your mind to it. I think, yes, there's definitely a sort of an undercurrent of latent transvestitism going on. But I'm not saying anything, but where there's smoke. Yes, it's a pity Gary's not here to remind us of what that was all about. But yeah, what was that all about? Because you put all that get-up on and had this sort of frightening crack whore look about you. Gary put it all on and suddenly turned into Frankenfurter. Very weird. I had a lovely floral number for the Nats. Yes, I mean, again, there was a lot of that sort of gubbins going on at the Nats. Everybody went around dressed as women, but like I say, it was less RuPaul and more Monty Python. Most of them seemed to be ended up dressing like women and looking like they should be on the Les Dawson show. I did go commando in a nun's habit up at the Kyle do once. It was a strangely liberating experience. I remember Kyle having a sort of a mosquito issue, which would not have persuaded me to go commando in a habit. In fact, quite the reverse. I would have thought that some sort of bloody diving suit would have been more appropriate in terms of coverage. But hey ho, I mean, if a mosquito bites you on the bell end, that does not count as a blowjob. Sorry. Yes, good God, there is a lot of this behaviour. I think questions should be raised in the house here. Not this house, somebody else's house. Pick their house. Ooh, yeah, puzzling, but there we go. Oh, right, well, this Facebook machine says the battery's about to go flat. And as it's so far, it has been about as much use as an arse with no hole in. I'm going to just turn it off. So if you're on Facebook, I'm buggering off. Please come and join us on the Hot Rod Gazette YouTube channel. Yeah. And, there we go. So, what? Piss off. There. Right. Put that over there and try and ignore it. Now, I would ask, can anybody else remember any interesting incidences of cross-dressing? But I'm not sure we want to. Because, frankly, none of you have got the bod for it. But, hey-ho. In fact, I was going to say, most of the pictures I've seen of you, Biff, at the NSCC AGM involve some sort of cross-dressing. And is there anything you'd like to share with the group? I would say we're all friends here, but no, we're not. We would just take the piss. Well, that's what friends do. Again, surprised the desk ain't rattling. Morris must be outside today. Well, I mean, this is what prompted this the question, I think, because Also, I wouldn't leave him outside in this weather. That's just not fair. Certainly not in that bloody little mankini he's got on. No. Um, I'm quite kind of worried about the company I keep. Did you hear about the lady that backed into the fan? No. No, not sure what that's about at all. It took me longer than it should have, but I've just got the gag. Thank you very much. Oh dear. Yeah. Sorry, it's it just put me. I don't know why, but it just put me in mind of that joke about I made some alphabeti spaghetti for lunch and the dog ate it, and if he throws up, it could spell trouble. Anyway, sorry. We've all got older, Dave. I wouldn't wear stockings these days. Tights all the way now. Well, winter's coming, approaching. So, Biff's liberating experience might be all right in August, but, it's November and foggy mornings. Oh, you don't want that round your undercarriage. Oh, crikey. And, well, he might have had the legs for it then, Morris. Not so much now. No, crikey, no. Very happy the street weekend day. Yes. We were talking about this earlier, Ken, and like I was saying, I can't believe that the amount of buzz about that event this year. And now, like, almost 8 months before next year's event, people are getting dead giddy about it. I think they haven't actually said as much, I don't think, but Max and Callum from Santapod were suggesting that competitors from this year would, in some way, shape, or form, get first dibs on entries for next. I don't know when she farts, her ankles swell up. Hot air rises, Biff. So yeah, they're not coming with a sort of a chimney that goes at the back of your blouse. Anyway, yes. So you saying I don't know when release day is. I'm sure the website said it might well be in December sometime. I asked them to do that. They don't think it will sell out. Well, the thing is, I'm not sure what they think is a maximum number. But if they think that, maybe 200 entrants, I reckon they'll piss that. Now, it appears, like I say, well, I think 3. Bloody hell, mate. You go to Melbourne, I thought 90 was a tall order. And as it happens, they handled it. But I can't remember the last time Melbourne / York had 90 cars entered for any meeting, for any weekend. So if they suddenly get 300 show up, that is going to fill the pit. I mean, right up to the pylons at the top end, the bit that's normally roped off. It's going to more than fill that. And you think that's 300 is triple the number that rocked up on Saturday this year. I think that Melbourne may have to realise that is an event to itself. Nobody else, just street weekend competitors on the Saturday. Melbourne did excellent this year. Absolutely, yes. Because I was kind of worried that, let's face it, the number of people who turned up for the day for street weekend was greater than the number of people already there for the weekend. So I could see 500 if there's not an upper limit. I'll be surprised at 500. However, like I say, if there is no upper limit, Trouble is, if the release date is December, a lot of people have Christmas coming up, so I think you're right. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have that sort of money just sitting around. If I did, I'd only buy cars or something with it. So yeah, I think they will be pleasantly surprised by the increased number of entrants this year. I just hope they're not unpleasantly surprised by having too many people in. But the thing is, if they do say, Ken, if they do say that anybody who entered the first event in 2023 gets first dibs on tickets 24, that's still only 90 if everybody takes them up on it. Yeah, it's not like 90 is the upper limit and that's filled the field. No, they could have another 200 people enter. My maths is there was 90 who raced / dropped out. Double that for their partner or friend to 180. Oh well. If you're talking about people who, the co-driver or whatever now wants to compete in their own vehicle, I mean, I did think, maybe unpaid intern 2 might want to take part himself in the next year. 2 problems with that. One of them being he hasn't got his driving licence yet, and the other being he's smack in the middle of his A-levels. And he's saying, oh, well, if I'm free that weekend, I'll come along. No, you pissing well won't. This is A-levels. This isn't something you can just blow out. So we'll see. We'll see about how that works out. Could have a reserve list and do a second event if there's the interest. Trouble is finding another free track weekend. Well, yeah. I mean, I had a tremendous back of a fag package idea about a sort of a street week. However, whatever happens, oh yes, I'd really like to be there, and I think come hell or high water, a lot of people will be there. If the forecast for that weekend, street weekend, is like the forecast for last weekend, people will still be there. And that's what I love about events with this much buzz about them. There could be a foot of snow on the ground, people will still show up. But, yeah, I did sort of, and this is bearing in mind, this is my maths. So there's my calculator, and, here's the fag packet that I was writing the numbers on the back of. A street week, not all the events by any stretch would be drag racing. Some of them would be other disciplines. And it wound up at, I think the entry cost would be at least 500 quid per car. And you would need at least 50 cars to even come close to breaking even. Great thing is, it really to people's interest in other drag events. Really, exactly, yeah. And I think that any event that comes along and creates this much of a buzz, you've got to figure that they're doing something right. Oh, I mean, it's not exactly a radical new idea. It's a drag and drive. But you look at how that's taken off in the States, even in the past 5 years. And I know Drag Week's been going, for Hot Rod Drag Week and the Hot Rod Power Tour. I know Power Tour's not strictly a drag and drive event, it's a show and drive event, isn't it? Both of those things have really sort of lit a fire. And you look now at all the, you look at Sick Magazine. Drag and drive is where it's at. People are loving it at the minute, and I'm just hoping it's not, well, the stateside, it's clearly not just a passing fad. But NSCC embodied the ethos of drag and drive before it. Absolutely, yeah. But that was, the NSCC, the idea of that was, bring your streetcar, and race it. And this, something like Drag Week is the other way around. It's get your race car and drive it. And either works, either is cool. And now you've got people building cars specifically for an event. I mean, you've got people building cars now for Street Weekend. It's only happened once, and yet there are people building cars spec'd for that event. And when you think that's a quarter-mile low prep, an eighth mile no prep, a quarter mile of prep with 200 miles in between, and how do you build a car for that? That is a massive compromise, and yet people are doing it. This is why I raced NSCC. I was like, yeah, and I mean, when NSCC sort of started, it was for. The idea was it was a feeder series into things like Street Eliminator. You know, you cut your teeth in NSCC and then moved up. You know, you got faster, faster, faster. I'm kind of too fast for NSCC now. Bosher, Street Eliminator. And don't forget Sweden there. Well, yeah, Swedish Street Week looks radical. Al Mack went and did it this year, and he said a lot of their tracks were no prep. A lot of their tracks were like, at the time he was telling me this, we were stood in the pits at Santa Pod, and he looked at the tarmac on the pits, and he said, yeah, you could have different types of racing with banger racing at the end. I'm not sure if anybody would build a car for that, but you never know. And well, plan to go next year, even if it's just to spectate. Yes, you need big slicks in Sweden. Yes, I mean, again, it would be great. I wish I could afford to go anywhere. Although I'll tell you exactly where I should be going. My God, I've been gibbering on for an hour and 8 minutes. I should be going and getting my dinner, because I can I can smell it, but I can't eat it. And there's a joke about gynecologists to be made there, I think. Anyway, so yes, next year, Street Weekend, June 14th to 16th, 14th Friday to 16th Sunday. I believe the format is the same as this year, which was Friday Santa Pod, Saturday Melbourne, Sunday Santa Pod again. They were worried about Alan till they saw his tyres and knew he would struggle. And he still finished fairly well, as I recall. Oh, you know, as well as could be expected on on treaded radials. And yeah, so Street Weekend, hurrah. This weekend, there's a couple of things going on. It's Flame and Thunder on Saturday, followed by Run What You Brung on Sunday at Santa Pod. Sunday is the NSRA Northern Swap Meet at Melbourne. I believe it's the Chelsea Cruise Halloween cruise Saturday night, so at Chelsea Bridge. Maybe a sudden spike in pineapple sales next June. Well, I was talking about this on the WhatsApp group. As I said, you know, everybody's asking all these questions about, you know, classes and tyre sizes and all this bum nuts. Nobody is asking the important questions here, such as what sort of fruit are we going to have? I insist it should be a large banana or a cucumber, just to allow for more interesting checkpoint photographs, especially if it's dark. So anyway, yes, there we go. Bloody an hour and 10 minutes. Nobody should have that much life to waste on this. So, I told you, yes, or as Ken said, it could be an 8-foot ladder, or somebody else suggested a canoe. Yeah, I'm having that. Yes, or a bloody long scaffold pole or something. I've animal, not vegetable this year. A live raccoon. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm having that. Beaver. Is that a suggestion, or are you just shouting beaver? Or have you just seen a beaver? Yeah, beaver. Yes. Right, and on that note, yes, thank you very, very much. Have fun this weekend. I'll be under the transit. Nice one, Biff. Enjoy. You can put your plums on the. Yeah, you can driving along with your plums on the dashboard would be entertaining. It'd certainly make some entertaining photographs, yes. Or how about a nice large pair of melons? Look, this could go on all night. Gotta be tiger, Talladega Nights. Oh, yeah, that was a cougar, I think. Yes, tigers are endangered. So, yes, some of you, as Nigel says, I'll see some of you on Sunday, hopefully, at the swap meet, unless it's been swept away in the floods. And yeah, whatever you're doing this weekend, enjoy, do it safely, and try and stay dry. And yes, cheerio, as Lee says. Thank you very, very much. With a bit of luck, it'll be again Thursday next week. I don't know if I'll be able to get Facebook to work. I think this bloody machine is now just too old. So, thank you very, very much. Have a very good evening. Have a very good weekend, and I'll see you all with a bit of luck next Thursday. Thanks for coming on.